Number 3, the author uses the explanation of his nurse in lines 23 to 31 to what? So we'll read those lines and see why he's bringing up his nurse. So it says, I told my old nurse after a day or two of dumb dread what I had seen. She laughed and told me that a certain Mrs. Holder, an elderly widow who was a dressmaker, had been to see her about some piece of work. They had turned out the nursery lights and were going downstairs when some questions arose about this stuff on the frock, whatever it was. Mrs. Holder had mounted on a chair to look close at the stuff by gaslight, and this was my bogey. So it's saying exactly what happened. So he's thinking it's some creepy statue, maybe a ghost, and it's actually just a pretty literal story that just happened to scare him and freak him out. So looking at the answer choices, A says terrify the reader. So the nurse isn't terrifying him, she's explaining what actually happened. So it was just this frock that was laying there that in the darkness by the gaslight had actually frightened him, but it wasn't a ghost, it wasn't anything scary, but it was just, in the darkness you kind of get scared by normal things. So her story is to explain what actually happened and not frighten him. So A is going to be out. B says make fun of his nurse. So he's not making fun of his nurse, he's just going to her to tell her about what happened, and she's explaining exactly what it was. So B is not going to be our answer. C says explain his fear of dressmakers. So he wasn't afraid of the dressmaker, he was afraid of what he thought was this creepy statue. So C is just that random choice that they're just trying to get you to laugh while you're taking the SAT. D says emphasize the exaggerated misperceptions caused by childhood fear. This is exactly what happened. We're all a little bit creeped out at nighttime. When it's dark, you see something that you're not used to seeing, there's a gaslight going, our minds wander and we create this frightening vision in our heads of something that's actually not frightening at all. So D is a really, really good possibility, but we'll check with E and just make sure that it's not that one. And E says act as comic relief. So the nurse is not trying to be funny, she's just, telling it like it is. So that is not it, and the correct choice is D.